month of magical moments created by Côte d'Ivoire and projecting the positives of the African continent in different ways. Well, it came to a close, and the host and win agenda was fully achieved, topping it up with massive ecstasy for the people. Welcome to the show. This is the final AFCON Today show here on Joy Prime and also on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and today we're just looking at the final day and what it produced for all of us. Well, today the big question to ask yourself here in the studio is, where is Stone? Well, would manage to get Stone to, go back on, some of the analysis that was done ahead of the game and also eat humble pie. In Nigeria, do you eat humble amala or you eat humble, eba? Well, for the people of Côte d'Ivoire, it's beyond cloud nine, and it's very understandable considering the fact that it's been a very big story of recovery and a big story of perseverance in this tournament and coming from behind to dominate and win. Well, here with me in the studio is Victor Achutamaklo. He has the sole seat because Stone is going to join us virtually eventually. And we're just going to take a look at the total experience of this final game, the third place game as well. And most of the predictions here in the studio went to support South Africa. And of course, Rowan Williams coming up with his heroics once again to pick up the best goalkeeper of the tournament. What a month of football.
Where is Stone?
Well, you should ask the question.
Stone? Look, I cannot accept that after all the yippee yapping, all that Stone said, and not just Stone, every member of the Nigerian fraternity, they've said quite a bit, and how we couldn't see this, and all the trolls even if Nigeria beats Tajikistan, they find a way to draw Ghana into the picture.
Yeah.
But just when they lost, they have all disappeared. Why? And to where? We will smoke them out. I've told the producer, wherever Stone is, he has to produce Stone. Otherwise, this show will not end. This show will not end. This year, we no go gree give anybody. You. So Stone, wherever you are, if you are listening, appear on the show. Stone, you are looking into my eyes. Appear on the show.
Anyway.
Don't want trouble. Appear.
Anyway, so William Troost-Ekong is a whole subject to also discuss because, like you mentioned, at a certain part, of the tournament, he is one who's shown leadership and understands what it means to play for the Super Eagles. These are your own words. He brought it to an all-time high, in the final game as well, stepping up to convert that penalty and give the Super Eagles a big lease of hope that it was possible to get it done.
Nigeria, in many ways like Ghana, are very demanding when it comes to their national team players, more so from the leaders of the national team. And so in the past, they've always demanded someone with personality, someone with character, beyond just the natural ability to actually play on the pitch and be the best player of that team. And I think that in Troost-Ekong, they have found someone who embodies everything that a Nigerian leader has to have. Yesterday, when he scored that goal, I described him as a warrior because up until the Seb Haller goal, he was winning every 50-50 ball. He was first to every cross, headed each of those away from harm's way. When his teammates made mistakes, he could encourage them. There was a moment that I thought was very touching when Nwabali and then Simon Adingra got into that altercation. Later on, the appeal for a penalty when Max Gradel went down under the challenge from Ola Aina, and Nwabali got a bit upset that he thought Max Gradel was play acting. He went there to try to calm things down. He had the presence of mind to read that situation and realize that if he did not de-escalate the situation, the youthful exuberance of someone like Stanley Nwabali could push him into saying something, doing something that in the spell of the moment may throw a spanner in the works of what till that point had been a very disciplined, very good performance from the Nigerian team. So he checks all the boxes in terms of the emotional intelligence a leader ought to have. He has that. When he has to show that personality and strength and drag his team on, pull his forces together and mobilize them forward, he's shown that. When it came to the simple job of defending, he's embodied that. And we simply cannot forget the important goals that he scored in these tournaments for Nigeria. And at each stage, each goal he scored has been super crucial. The goal in the group stage, the goal in the final itself, the penalty shootout versus South Africa, he showed that. And for me, it's only goes to prove that this is someone who made a deliberate effort to understand what it means to play for Nigeria. Because if you didn't go through the mill, if you didn't play football in Nigeria, if you didn't play for all of the national teams, the character of the national team is something you simply will not have. It's not something you can manufacture. It's not something you can wish into existence. You have to be taught. You have to be told what it is that is expected of you. But even more importantly, it is something that you have to experience to be able to reflect it when need be. And that is one thing that, unfortunately, a lot of the federations on the continent have not been able to do, which is help our brothers and sisters who, even for those who were born here, didn't really spend too much time in the national teams and so did not have that education. And so when they get their call-ups or for those who need registration or naturalization to play for the country, when that process is concluded, we ought to take them through a period of acclimatization, right? Just so they can understand what the people expect of them and what it means to wear the national team and what values you have to reflect when the match starts, when you are around the national team. And I think that the successes of Troost-Ekong, you might want to extend that to Ademola Lookman, who earlier in his career was given the opportunity to play for Nigeria. He turned his back on them. Later on, they had to call a truce, and he made the decision of coming to play for Nigeria again. They have managed these situations such that, yes, there is an admission that some players may have said no, may have spat in the face of the country in the past, but there is an admission that that decision may be, with hindsight, may not have been the best of decision, and that the need for efforts to be made to ensure that they bridge the gap between those who may have been offended by that decision in itself, by the conduct in the past, and just to essentially create an enabling environment for those players to come in and then thrive. And while we say that there are many things undesirable about the way football federations on the continent are run, maybe Nigeria themselves, this is one area where they seem to have aced it, because you have young players who spent, years and years in the UK, in Italy. Ola Aina is an example. Chelsea, Torino. I'm not even sure until about 5 or 4 years ago he had that many games for the Super Eagles. But over time, in this tournament, for me, is when he's really shown himself when the chips were down, when a lot of people did not have faith in the Super Eagles. They are the guys who have shown up and excelled for Nigeria. There's AFCON. So you're talking about Ola Aina. You're talking about Troost-Ekong, Ademola Lookman, Simon Moses, Emmanuel Denise even in the past, and all of these boys who have come in. And so even in the face of defeat, there are very beautiful storylines that Nigeria can look at and be happy, except that there is nothing that can compensate the AFCON loss.
There it is. And so this trophy, once is not in your hand, becomes a completely different conversation. And once again, we'll say kudos to the Elephants of Côte d'Ivoire winning it again in the new era. Well, we'll be having some more conversations around this final and the third place game right here on this final episode of AFCON Today. So you stay right there. We'll do a round of messages. And after that, we continue. We'll bring in the man with statistics who's been amazing this season of football. And do remember that the show is proudly sponsored by MTN everywhere you go. All right, guys, thank you so much for staying with us. Remember, the show is proudly sponsored by MTN everywhere you go. So let's get down to the business of the game proper. and the awardees as well. So maybe we should run through the awardees again, and we'd like to have them on the screen. We've been speaking extensively about William Troost-Ekong and what he's brought to this tournament in terms of his leadership and all of that. But also, we have to start looking at how busy the agents are going to get between now and the summer transfer window.
Yeah, well, there will be because there are a lot of talent around. If you look well, unfortunately for them, Simon Adingra is locked down by Brighton and Hove Albion, so he's one that's off the market. But he's been a brilliant player. To think that he may not have made the tournament's list if the federation had not persisted, because he came in, I think, at the beginning of the tournament with an injury. And so he, in the Ghanaian situation, would have been told that, oh, because he's not fully fit, let's not name him in the AFCON squad, and let alone take him to the tournament itself. But he's come in and he's done very well. And I think that following his trajectory over the last 3 or 4 years, he's a very refined player these days. When he first went into the Right to Dream Academy, he was a player with a lot of speed, very explosive, also with remarkable dribbling ability. But how to combine those two and find a meeting point between those two skill sets and the end product, which essentially has to be his decision-making, because the quality of those will determine the quality of the end product. It's something they've had to hone. And I think the apprenticeship at New Zealand has also served him well, allowed him to think of the game with a more holistic view, in the sense that in the past, and for very highly skillful players like himself, they can be not necessarily selfish, but more focused on what they bring to the game. But when you receive the sort of education they offer at Right to Dream and at New Zealand, you begin to look at the game in a broader spectrum and look at how the other pieces fit together. How, for example, the decoy run by a teammate affects you because it opens up space. You quickly have to make sense of what that space means to you, what you do with that space, whether you play a final ball, whether you hold on to the ball, or you attempt to take an effort. And all of those little things are things that have been trained. And now he's a very refined player. I mean, if you look through the Right to Dream roster, around the time that Simon Adingra was in Ghana, was at the academy, you will find that between that period, you have Mohamed Kudus, you have Ernest Nuama, you have a lot of the young white forwards that we're seeing these days who went through New Zealand also charting the same course. And he's one brilliant player. And I think we need to take lessons from him. Let's value young talents as a people, as a country. The game long ago moved on from the old legs and reputation. If you are good enough, you are old enough. We had someone who, with very similar skill sets to Simon Adingra in the Black Stars, in Ernest Nuama. But for whatever reason, we chose to keep him on the bench and did not give him the game time. And yesterday I said on Twitter that, look, for all the talent that Simon Adingra had he been a Ghanaian, he probably would not have made the AFCON squad. He probably would have suffered the same fate as Ernest Nuama if he had made the squad, in the sense that he will go there, but some old man who's well past his sell-by dates will be preferred to him, will be asked to go and play to the detriments of not just the player, but the entire country, all because we want to chase some records. So his is a beautiful story, and I like the fact that Ivory Coast have trusted him and given him a platform like that. And talents like his never disappoint.
And we sure have also seen messages from the legends, including Michael Essien. Michael Essien, who's a coach now at North Zealand FC. And the man, Derek Boateng. Do remember that Derek Boateng is the chief scout of the Right to Dream Academy here in Ghana, and does a lot of work in that region. And having worked on the talent, he sure is basking with a lot of pride. So both legends have gone on social media and celebrated Simon Adingra's achievement. All right, so you've huffed and you've puffed. Let's see what we have here. We're trying our best to get Stone. Okay, so there he is. Stone, good to see you.
What? Has he been kidnapped? Is he in captivity?
Listen. No. I don't like what's happening.
Okay, tell me.
Why are you not here? No.
What is happening?
Why are you not here?
I don't like what's happening. Listen. I went for an event yesterday. I'm tired. I decided to sleep in. What's the big deal?
Okay.
I decided to sleep in.
Okay.
And let me say one more thing. I don't still know the color of the Ivory Coast jersey. I don't know what the color is.
Why?
I don't know if it's orange, if it's yellow, if it's light yellow, if it's light blue, if it's light orange. I don't know what it is.
You are very sure about that.
Ivory Coast and the Cote d'Ivoire jersey, and I still refuse to know the color till today.
Nat, have you noticed that even though the images from his feed are not sharp, you can tell his pupils are dilated. He didn't sleep at all. He's been crying all night. Stone, why?
Stone, let's have a look at this video first before we continue the conversation with you, Stone. Have a look at this video.
So who is winning?
See, what you are saying is an insult. Because first of all, the first thing I will ask you is that what is the color of Cote d'Ivoire jersey? You yourself, you don't know.
I say it's orange and green.
Orange and green. Is that a orange?
It's orange.
I've seen orange. That's not orange.
Hey,
their jersey does not have color. It does not have. That is not orange. I've seen orange. I know what orange. Where's orange? If I see orange, I know what orange is.
Which one are orange?
This looks more orange than
this
that.
Yellow.
This is that yellow. Which one? This one.
This one orange.
Which one is the orange?
This one the background now.
This is red now.
It's not red though.
This is orange.
This is orange.
Okay, this orange now, Cote d'Ivoire jersey. You see the same thing?
Theirs is a
so
shade.
So their own is light orange.
It's hotter.
So it's light orange, meaning that we will light them up. Yes, it's light orange. So we'll put fire on it and burn it. It's light orange.
Omo Naija.
Destroy them. See, we beat them already 1-0. We'll still beat them again.
Omo Naija, Sunday evening. In fact, Monday, I'll play this video on air.
Me and Cote d'Ivoire is an insult to me. Don't ask that rubbish question again. I will absolutely humble Cote d'Ivoire. I will destroy them. End of story. Their magic has ended. That man they use with Senegal. But I want to thank them. I want to thank Cote d'Ivoire for removing Senegal, you know. Thank you for removing Senegal and Mali. You understand? Making it sweet for us. But now it's our time. So we're winning the match. Osimhen 2 goals.
So a celebration, not knowing the color of the jersey and saying it's even an insult to put Cote d'Ivoire with the Super Eagles on the same pitch.
It is an insult. It is an insult.
That's why he's been crying the way he's been crying.
Yeah. But Stone, you look like something else was happening to your eyes the whole of last night.
He cried. Premium tears.
Let me tell you something. I've been enjoying Ghana. This is the best travel I've ever had in my entire life.
Okay.
Ghana has been the best place to be. And if there's anything happening to me, is the fact that I ate Ghanaian jollof yesterday, and it was absolutely amazing. So that's just it. Aside that, nothing is happening to me. I watched the match yesterday, and all I can say, that referee should be arrested for fraud. That's number one. We need to check his account, his offshore accounts, and know what's going on there. Number two, my coach should be put in a guard room, because I don't understand the whole thing with Olaina and Adingra. You saw what Adingra was doing in the first half, using Olaina and putting him on roller skates. Olaina was absolutely not in the mud. Adingra was using Olaina as a shade, as a guard, to guard him from the lights of the stadium and dribbling him. Olaina was nowhere to be found. Someone that stopped Jelsin Dala now faced Adingra and looked like a nobody against Adingra. And as a coach, the first thing you do, by 45 minutes, you remove Olaina and you bring in Osai Bright. But what did our coach do? He left Olaina there. Where did the 2 crosses come from? Adingra. And what happened? Kessie scored, Hala scored. And I have to say this, as a human being, it is a beautiful story. Sebastian Hala went through the whole thing with testicular cancer, was out for a long time, and then came back, winning the AFCON, scoring the winning goal. That is a beautiful story. But I am pissed off that my coach did not anticipate this, did not remove Olaina, did not bring in the necessary player to stop Adingra. If he had done that, Nigeria would have won the game 1-0. We could have.
Okay.
That did not happen.
So what happens now? Because your coach is just about getting into the final, moments of his contract. Okay. You wouldn't want him to stay. Clearly, would you want him to stay?
Nigerians are not going to like me for this. I don't think that in big moments he can make the right in-game decisions.
Okay. So based on that,
this was a fluke.
okay. So
Yes,
based on
I
that,
think it was a fluke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, based on that, I want him out. We are third in the World Cup qualifiers group, right? We drew to Lesotho. I mean, this AFCON is like it's like a glimmer of hope, like a rainbow, like it's out of the normal situation. Nigerians need to come to the normal situation. Is the fact that we are about not to qualify for the World Cup. That's the truth. So if we come out from this AFCON, the takeaway I'm thinking about is, can this coach do something if we have an important match? Can he make the right substitutions? Can he make the hard decisions to ensure that Nigeria moves forward? And the answer to me is a big no. And I think he needs to go. I think someone else needs to come back. And then you look at the fact that our attack, look at our attack. And I want to say this really quickly. The defense of Nigeria had carried Nigeria throughout the competition. And we were complaining before the AFCON started that the defense was poor and the attack was going to carry Nigeria, right? All of a sudden, the defense carries Nigeria all through the AFCON. Then what happens? The one time that Nigeria needed the attack to step up and push them to the next dimension, we were down 2-1 to Cote d'Ivoire. We needed the attack to step up. The attack was nowhere to be found. You know why? Because the coach had totally relied on the defense so much and the attack was not there. Look at Ademola Lookman yesterday. Our counter-attacks, Ademola Lookman could not run again. Look at what happened. Nigerians came out to blame Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi is the reason why. It's Alex Iwobi, Ola Aina, that allowed 2 crosses into the box. It's Alex Iwobi, Zaidu Sanusi, that couldn't cross the ball or pass the ball at the necessary time. It's Alex Iwobi, Lookman, that couldn't run for the counters again and started jogging and started walking on the pitch for counter-attacks. It's Alex Iwobi, all these guys. He is not. So at the end of the day, you can blame Alex Iwobi all you want, and Iwobi had his own challenges. But Iwobi is not the main reason we lost yesterday. If the coach had made the right changes, we would have maybe drawn the match against Cote d'Ivoire, gone to penalties, Wabali will save 3, and then win again. Simple as that.
Well, in Wabali is not Rowan Williams. Williams gave us, proof that he still has a lot of it in him, even though he was unable to come to the party on one of the most important days, which was to get them into the final. But he gave, that he really is the man and he really still has something in him. Now, so Stone has admitted that, look, the coaching decisions were not right on the day, and because of that, the coach has to go. All right. How do we go for... you need to unmute, yes.
Okay.
We can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah, now...
Okay, I want to say something before Archie jumps in, because, Archie is like... to me, Archie is one of the best guys in Ghana. You see, when Archie starts... we are watching the show on TV usually. We usually sit down watching Archie like this. Let me tell you something. Because I'm leaving Ghana soon, I just want to say something about Archie. Then I say something else about, and I've said this many times in the house. I don't know how Archie knows the information he knows. I'm just being realistic. The brother has an encyclopedia in his head. And I don't know how he does that, but he has so much information that when he's talking, I'm like, how does he know all these things? It's not cramming, because it's knowledge. The way he's explaining it, there's difference between cramming and all those things. Yeah. The way he's explaining it is different. Archie, to me, is one of the best analysts I've met, and I've met all kinds of analysts in Africa and the world. Archie is at that top place where you're looking at. If you want somebody to bring in the in-depth, he's one of the best in Africa. He's one of the best in the world. That's the truth. His knowledge of football is bang on. And when you look at Nat, and look at the way Nat is able to coordinate this show, coordinate all the shows he does, and still do it like on a different level. I'm just saying, I'm appreciating Ghana, because in Ghana, I met some of the best analysts I've ever met. Fentor, Nat, Archie. Those are the 3 guys that really, and there's one other guy I met, I've forgotten his name, but Ghanaian guys, Ghanaian analysts, they are very thorough. They have the information. They will bring the comedy when it's necessary, but not too much of comedy. It's more of insight, it's more of in-depth analysis. And I'm telling you right now, I've met a lot of people, but if I want to talk about analysts anywhere in the world, I'm going to refer back to Ghanaian analysts, because I'm telling you right now, they know their stuff. It is the truth. If there's anybody that knows their stuff, it's Ghanaian analysts. And I am really, really, I've been honored to sit down beside some of the best analysts I've seen in the entire world, and they're from Ghana. And that's the reality of it. That's the truth. Sorry.
Thank you. Thanks for the compliments. But at least you know the color of the Ghana flag.
Yes. Just one advice.
I know the Ghana jersey.
Just one advice. Stop eating eba and amala. And become a Ghanaian. That's the secret.
Actually, they told me to stay in Ghana. They said I should stay in Ghana. They said don't go back to Lagos.
Don't
stay
go.
In Ghana.
Don't go. Stay here.
But we know what to do. You know, away from all the jollof and everything, we know what to do. But we'll discuss that off air. You know that, right? So just before we wrap up with you, Stone, it's been wonderful having you here as well. You know, I've been looking at, because you see, there's a lot of talk about West Africa being the hub of excellence in football on the continent. And the evidence is immediate in what we saw yesterday at the Alassane Ouattara Stadium. Now, let's quickly look at the way forward for Nigeria now. The World Cup qualifiers are beckoning, like you've said. But for you, what are few key steps that must be taken to ensure that this kind of momentum doesn't slow down in any way, or we don't see any form of retrogression? Okay, so just before I answer that question, let me just say one more thing, please, Nat, because I want to say that Williams deserved the best goalkeeper of the tournament over Nwabali. I know many Nigerians are saying that Williams did not deserve it and Nwabali deserved it, but that's a lie. Williams had more clean sheets. Williams was least goals conceded per match, 0.4, although he had 2.9 saves per match, which was more than Nwabali's 2.7. And Williams was vital in 2 penalty shootouts, and Williams deserved the goalkeeper of the tournament over Nwabali. If he made more saves per match and yet considered the least goals per match. Nwabali was great for Nigeria, but realistically, Williams deserves this goalkeeper of the tournament. That's number one. Number two, back to the question that you asked, I'll look at this and I'm asking myself, can my coach qualify us out of this group to the World Cup? And one player Nigeria missed very well was Victor Boniface. Very important. Victor Boniface, alongside Victor Osimhen, I think Nigeria is going to play 4-4-2 with that system, or 4-3-3 with that system. Because you can't have Victor Boniface and start playing one in front. He is that good and he can connect with Osimhen and all this kind of stuff. So going from this tournament, I think Nigeria will bring back Victor Boniface into the team and try to build on this defense that we have already. And one of the guys that Nigerians don't really talk about is Semi Ajayi, who was the guy that was on the right hand of Ekong, who did not make, I didn't see one mistake that I made throughout the tournament. He was so excellent and so good and did so well in the tournament and covered up for the mistakes of many people. And what I want to say is this: Nigeria can build on this defense. Nigeria can build on this attack. Nigeria can bring Victor Boniface into the team. And I think if they integrate Victor Boniface back into the team and play with this identity of defense that we already have with Calvin Bassey, with Ekong, with Semi Ajayi, with all these guys, I think we can qualify from this World Cup. But would I want this coach to lead me to the World Cup? I don't think so. Okay. Not because of his defensive mentality, but just because that he doesn't make the right in-game changes like the Côte d'Ivoire coach, who is so intelligent and brilliant and knows exactly what to do at the right time. All right, Stone, thanks so much. We sure are going to pick up this conversation on the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the way forward, because, I mean, when you look at certain teams in West Africa, in the recent era, in the new era, they have been torchbearers for the African continent without a doubt. And it's very important that we look at the trajectory, how they're going to play, because when the countries get to the World Cup, it sure will be them representing the whole continent. And that's as simple as that. And we need to show well and show quality. So these are conversations we're going to pick up. But hey, big salutes to you. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful having you here. But like I said, the other conversations, Achu has been, conniving with the guys here. They are going to make sure that you stay. but something will bring you back.
Yeah.
We'll have to discuss that off air.
Yeah.
We'll have to discuss that off air.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We will. But our condolences to you and to all of Nigeria, since you are still in mourning.
Achoo, condolences. Come on.
It shall be well. It shall be well. Don't worry, it shall be well.
All right, Stone, catch you and safe flight back. We're going to talk again. All the best.
Thank you.
Stone there, he is a celebrated TikToker with us throughout this period. And of course, the demands of the day just made him relax a little bit because it's been tough, handling not being able to win the tournament for
I didn't expect he would cry this much. It's just bants. It's just banter. It's just trolls, Nigeria. Don't take it to heart.
Let's now get into the moments of football philosophy and football statistics. So Karim does his walk of stardom one last time here on the show. And, he moved in a zigzag format. I don't know what that means. Yeah.
I thought he had stopped.
What is informing the whole zigzag movement? Tell me about it.
I'm sad the AFCON is ending.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Yes. We've seen beautiful things at this AFCON.
Yeah.
Some people will say that it's challenging the World Cup, and we are not far off. You just have to maybe add on to it, not go back to what we are used to seeing. What is going on social media? What caused that? Some people are logging out of their Twitter accounts and that sort. What is causing that?
It's neck pressing, constant neck pressing. This is more intense than the German Gegen pressing.
What I'm saying is that why are Ghanaians trolling at the Nigerians?
Well, the simple reason is that they were just praying that number 4 will still remain up there and remain special to us, so that nobody gets close. And Nigeria was getting close. They were just one step away. And if they had won this, that would have been it.
And also because they were talking too much.
Yes. They and it reminds you of the legend, Daniel Amokachi, and that 360 video he did in the stadium ahead of the World Cup qualifiers.
Forgotten.
I
haven't forgotten.
Later on, when Ghana qualified ahead of Nigeria, the legendary Anthony Baffo also did a very nice 360 video.
There is the Amaju Pinnick video where he met the press after the playoff draw was conducted and Nigeria drew Ghana. And journalists asked him his views on the draw, and he said, how can you ask such a question? Nigeria will be at the World Cup. He says, Qatar wants to see Buhari, and Buhari will be at the World Cup. And they have a very unique way of pronouncing the name Buhari.
Yeah.
Like the H goes silent. And then the R is pronounced with a certain roll of the tongue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Almost like a French pronunciation.
It is a clip I will never forget because he essentially presented a case where it was a given for Nigeria and especially Buhari to be at the World Cup.
Well,
now I've mentioned the name of this Chinese philosopher before, and it's only on a good note that I close with it. Luatu.
Okay. What did Luatu say?
He says that he who boasts of his accomplishments heaps ridicule on himself.
I see.
Correct for 3 points. Correct. Very consistent with the times. Please repeat it for us.
He who boasts of his accomplishments heaps ridicule on himself.
That is the sermon for the day.
That's it.
Yes. That explains everything the Nigerians are experiencing today.
The game we've seen on yesterday, it's an answer dominance from the start.
Yeah.
The Nigerians didn't have answer to all the questions Cote d'Ivoire were asking of them from the start. Two teams playing in similar styles but very different ways. You see that the Nigerians like to go long from the back, but the Ivorians too, they also go long, but they do it coordinatedly. When they have to do it, they do it. And when they have to do the passes and go through the middle or the sideways, they do it. Look at the possession. It was the same way when they met in the group stages. Ivory Coast completely buzzed it. and Nigeria were going through the long balls. It is the same way in this game. 21% of the about 248 passes they attempted were long balls. But it didn't work because the Ivorians had the antidote to it. Look at shots. This is the lowest they've attempted at this tournament. And the shots on target for them, 1. That is the joint lowest. Also against Guinea-Bissau, where they attempted 1 shot on target and scored 1 goal. Côte d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, Nigeria attempted 5 shots and Ivory Coast attempted 18. That is almost that's triple of that, more than triple of that. Complete dominance, expected goals. Up to this point, Nigeria has never had an expected goal of less than 0.5. It means that they were not even expected to score a goal in this game. But because of how brilliant William Trusikong is, he towered over Sergio Aurier and scored that. And just expectedly, the Ivorians were expected to score 2 goals, and they did just that. This is more important here. Possession lost in the defensive third. On Friday, when we were previewing the game, I talked about how the Ivorians press. Sekou Fofana, Seri, and then Frank Kessie carrying the ball really well. They don't even allow the Nigerians to move the ball out of their own half. That is why we have to move on to 2 players that were key in deciding how the game went. Let's first look at Ola Aina. Remember against Angola, when they faced Angola, I talked about how brilliant he was and just Dala being poor in that game. This game is a reverse. Look at the number of tackles. 0 for him. He's off. He's dribbled past 3 times. And clearances. Made 4. A player of his sort is always bumping forward, not at the back trying to make clearances. And this game, we'll look at the pass maps. He was really restricted. The questions Simon Adingra was asking of him, there was none. And a player of his sort, he's the second most creative player for Nigeria at this AFCON. And this game, he created 0 chances in that game. Let's move on to Simon Adingra. That is contrast of the performance of Ola Aina. Adingra created 6 chances in that game. That is the most of any player. Completed 5 dribbles, all of them through Ola Aina's position. 5 dribbles, all of them through that side, and entered the opposition box 9 times. That is the most of any player. He's having a full day in that game and crucially created the 2 assists. Now let's move on to the pass maps. This is what I just explained. Let's move on to the pass map of Nigeria. This is how scattered it is. Looks like they just put 1 player at the back, another here, and they're playing long balls to each other.
Yeah.
And that didn't really work out for them. I said it that there are 2 teams that like to play the ball to each other. This is Ola Aina's average position in the game. This is the joint least, most advanced position he's done in this game. Playing as a wing back is usually either on the center way line or above it. But this game, because of how much questions Simon Adingra was asking of him, he couldn't move forward. He was stuck to his defensive area. Now let's move on and see what Simon Adingra did in that game, his average position. Adingra's average position, this is Aina's average position. And Adingra was much more higher advanced than Ola Aina would have liked.
So basically, Ola Aina did not cross this.
Did not cross this. He crossed, but
the average, he didn't.
He's on his own half when he was supposed to be bumping forward, trying to put in crosses or trying to help in Nigeria's build-up to creating chances. Let's show the Côte d'Ivoire pass map. Okay. So this is Simon Adingra. Yeah. Ola Aina's average position was just around here. And Simon Adingra is just above where he is. It means that he can't move forward. Simon Adingra basically blocked how creative he can be in the game. And it was part of the reason why Nigeria couldn't create anything of a chance in this game. Having just 1 shot on target, that's really poor. You can't win a final with that.
I see. Interesting stuff there.
But
so,
it's not surprising considering, and that was a brilliant callback on the Gelson Dala and the Ola Aina, the dichotomy of that show with what we saw last night. While Gelson Dala is still technically a very sophisticated player to deal with, I think the skill sets of Simon Adingra is what were key or was key in yesterday's contest in the sense that in the simplest of terms, he's a 1v1 monster. He's a defender's nightmare. He can, and as I explained earlier, can combine a mix of pace, dribbling ability, and remarkable decision-making to go with.
Very good with both feet.
Exactly. So when he has to pause, draw the opponents or tease the opponents to get closer, when he has to engage, he at every single game state, he makes the right call. When he has to whip in the cross, he knows how to. There was a chance he had in the first half when I thought maybe he could have cut back. But after watching the replay a number of times, I understood why his best bet was to have attempted to score. The save he pulled off Stanley Wabali in the first of that situation. And it was one of numerous situations where he got in behind Ola Aina. So beyond the dribbling ability, beyond the pace, beyond the decision-making, it's the fact that he's persistent, he's intense, he's not stopping. And when a defender is marking a player like that, whether he's in possession or not, you cannot stop to think about anything else. He is your preoccupation. What you have to, at any point in time, respond to what he's doing and hope that the ball does. You only breathe when the ball doesn't come to that side of the opponent's attack. And unfortunately for Ola Aina, look, you play that game 5 or 6 times, it is still going to play out the same way because the Nigerian defense yesterday was the same as it was post the Equatorial Guinea, which is to create the overloads in the wide areas, essentially to provide the extra layer of protective cover for their wing-backs in order to ensure that they are not exposed. So whenever Simon Adingra or anyone on the flanks got possession, you saw that an extra midfielder or an extra defender got close to provide support. But still, when you have the quality that Simon Adingra has, sometimes it doesn't make any difference.
Big revelations indeed in terms of, what we're seeing talent-wise at this tournament. And that obviously is what is becoming the big conversation after the Africa Cup of Nations. Now, you have this chart which is also showing us who dominated at which tournament in the last 10.
So this would be for the last 10 best performances of the AFCON.
Player of the tournament.
Is obviously the Egyptians during their glory run between 2006 and 2010 would have their players. And I fondly remember the Hosni Abdurrahman performance in 2008. For my money, the best performing midfielder that the AFCON has seen in the modern era.
In the modern era.
I don't think we've seen anyone as dominant.
It's also interesting that you had an Ahmed Hassan do it in 2006 and then come back in 2010 to do it again.
To do it again. I mean, look, these are the guys who make it impossible to mention Mohamed Salah in the midst of greats of Egyptian football as far as African football is concerned, because their legacy is there. They have written their signatures over consecutive AFCON tournaments.
I mean, you have a Hussam Hassan, for instance.
You cannot tell the AFCON story without them. And then you've got Christopher Katongo in 2000.
Yeah.
And
he got a promotion in the military due to this performance that he put up in leading
that tournament.
Yes.
And then I think from 2012, we saw the turn of the forwards or the wide players, because between 2006 and 2010, you had the central midfielders. Then in 2012, Christopher Katongo, Jonathan Petropa, another wide player in 2013, Christian Atu, another wide player in 2015, Christian Basagog, another wide player in 2017, before you had another midfielder in Ishmael Benasser winning it in 2019, and then it reverts back to Sadio Mane in 2019 among the wide players or the forwards. And then finally, the warrior that is William Troost-Ekong.
Yeah, I mean, we can't stop talking about William Troost-Ekong because, I mean, in terms of performance, he was so alert and he was, so ready at every single point. And the kinds of interventions he made were legendary. And in hindsight, you do realize that they were very key. Otherwise, we would have had a different story to tell regarding how many goals Nigeria, would have conceded.
And I think the appreciation for what he's done only goes to show you that football fans are more forgiving than we like to admit. The winning goal for Ivory Coast yesterday is a goal that perhaps if he had stayed closer to Sebastian Haller, maybe he could have put him under pressure, maybe put him off or even prevent that goal. But no one is blaming him for him because the guy has been so good, which goes to show you that even the most cynical of us can be forgiven and can be very accommodating of mistakes at the highest level if we are convinced in our minds that, look, the characters in question have given everything and that sometimes, just sometimes, they're only human after all. And you cannot blame them too much when situations like that happen. And for me, he's an example of everything you want to see in a player who values the national team and leaves everything on the pitch.
Very well.
Nats, if you're talking about Iko, I read an article by The Athletic, and they are comparing his performance at this tournament to a player like Carlos Puyol at the 2010 World Cup. If you're looking at the character, the inspiration he provides to the team, the crucial goals he's scoring, it's not far-fetched that they are comparing him to a player like Puyol, who you see fights like a warrior. It's not easy to see that they are comparing an African playing at the Africa Cup of Nations to a player like Puyol, who was playing for Barcelona throughout his years, captain of the team. Absolutely outstanding performances from Trustecon's.
I would say his Trustecon's performance has a bit more value and is even more profound because everything Carlos Puyol did was in a settled team. The Spain team at that World Cup in 2010
has about 7 Barcelona players. They
had won the European Championships 2 years prior. They had won the UEFA Champions League in 2009, and then I think in 2006 as well, he led the Barcelona team to go. So all around him, there was quality. The Nigerian team had no right to go this far in this tournament. Nobody expected them to get this far. Everything good they did, the fact that the manager had to rejig things and then find a new strategy was possible because of the quality that he brought on board.
Achu, thank you so much. And thank you so much. Check out social media in a couple of hours. We're going to see, you're going to see some of the the moments of philosophy, sport philosophy. Achu, thank you so much. It's been wonderful. And we're just praying that another one comes quickly. The Euros are coming soon. Yeah.
But more importantly, the AFCON is coming back next year.
It has to come back quickly. Yeah, quickly. And so would like to say a very big thank you to our backroom staff in football terms, led by Sarah Opari, the indefatigable Sarah Opari, and every single member of the camera crew, production, Martin, Fidel, Mubarak, I can see Razak here as well. Everybody, every single person. It's been wonderful. It's been a wonderful season of football. Manasseh, we see you. Thank you guys so much. It's been wonderful. It's been amazing. And we sure are going to deliver for you another very big one as we enter different seasons of football. So from all of us here, it's massive gratitude. So much thanks going to our sponsors, MTN. And we're looking forward to even more collaborations as we go along. To the teams, Joy 99.7 FM, and also Joy News, we say thank you. It's been a wonderful collaboration as well. So congratulations once again to our friends in Côte d'Ivoire. Félicitations is what they'll say in French. And we will be back with something else. The qualifiers continue, and there's still more to come in these seasons as we also look forward to the wrap-up of the big transfer windows. The Africa Games for us here in Ghana in the media is our next line of focus. We've got very little time to go. It begins late this month and goes through to next month. We will be bringing you very important interviews and very comprehensive reports as regards progress towards this tournament. All of those will be happening here on our channels. Thank you so much. Big salutes to all of you. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and I have love for sport.